I am Jenn Thomas. I am the Executive Director for the Ross County Humane Society, and we are asking for your help today to help us get a new building. The building will help the community, which will help the dogs, which then in turn will help the members of our community. We've done really good with the building that we have, and we're very thankful for that building, but we are at a point right now in our juncture that we need a new building in order to progress past what we have overcome. So in order for us to help more dogs in a better way and help the community in a better way and to house the dogs in a humane and ethical way, we need to make changes with the building. And the building has definitely served us well for the last 20 some years, but it has reached the end of its life cycle. If we don't get a new building, we are going to start regressing back just because of things being broken and just the environment that the staff and the dogs are in based on the condition of the current building. Tens of thousands of dogs have come through this building in the last 30 years. In this last 7 years since I've been here, we've taken in over 8,000 dogs. Every healthy, adoptable dog is adopted. Even some of the dogs that are not healthy, if we are able to make them healthy, we will, but we have not euthanized a dog to make space for 8 years, 9 years maybe. So every healthy adoptable dog is leaving this building, adopted or with a rescue or with another organization. I think when the building was built, it was built more as a pound, which I hate the word pound, and I know that that was just the terminology that they use. Like, we're providing a service now that maybe they wanted to provide back then or didn't have the means or the education, or even just the standards were not the same. You know, dogs would come in, they would be held, and then they would be either redeemed, adopted, or disposed of, and they were housing 2 and 3 dogs in one kennel. You know, they didn't have very good disease control, which we struggle with that now with the current state of the building. We're much more educated now on, you know, what's the best thing to do for dogs, and I think that they did the best that they had when they had it at that time. The society has been around for over 100 years. You know how many things have changed in 100 years? So much. Just the way people see companion animals, the way that people treat their pets, the laws around owning pets and those things have changed. And even in the last 30 years, those things have greatly changed. But you know what hasn't changed? Our building. I think that when it was built from just a contractor's standpoint, meaning, okay, they need kennels, they need this, let's just build that. We have kind of learned from that mistake and want to make sure that we are doing things in a better way. So we have actually been consulting with another organization, GG Shelter for Dogs. They're out of Canal, Winchester, and they spent years researching paint colors. How do we humanely house dogs? How do we prevent disease? How do we make it, you know, as stress-free for dogs as possible? And we're very, very fortunate to have that partnership with them. And we have consulted with them on a new design and kind of modeled our building sort of after what they do. We have consulted with people that I would consider to be experts in animal sheltering, at least in our particular area. And they spent years before they built their facility, and, you know, they really just want to help us, you know, do what we know our potential is, but our facility limits that in our current state. We don't have enough space for the office staff, which I know is really probably the lowest priority. Our highest priority is always going to be the dogs, but we're sitting on top of each other inside of this building. The new building will have that. Our new building will have isolation areas so that we'll be able to separate sick dogs from healthy dogs. We never know what's going to come in until it walks in the door, and that might be a dog that's sick and we won't know. We get a lot of puppies from our community, so we will have a maternity area. We get a lot of moms with puppies. I wish that we didn't, but unfortunately we do. So that will be a need that we'll be able to serve the dog wardens. The county will have about 5 times as much space as they currently have. They're in a 10 by 10 office right now, and they'll have an area to bring their trucks in. They'll have an area to have 2 desks. They will have more space to efficiently do their job. A separate entrance from us as well, a veterinary hospital inside of it that will be initially used for shelter dogs, for just routine medical care. We also will have a surgery suite, which we do not have now. Eventually, we would like to be able to offer spay neuters at low cost to the public, but during the initial part, it will be used to spay and neuter our dogs, which will make it much more efficient, because right now we're transporting dogs to and from vet appointments, which takes up time, it takes up resources. There will be natural light for the dogs, which right now we don't have at all. The building is basically 100 by 40 building. It's 4,000 square feet, and I think it has 6 windows in it. So one of the things that we have learned from other partner organizations is that natural light is very important for dogs. Imagine if you were locked in a room with no light. I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with right now just because of the way the building was made. Adoption space inside. Right now, we don't have anywhere where you can meet a dog if you want to adopt it because we currently have dogs in it. A dedicated intake area, which again goes back to disease control, which is a big part of this. Right now we have one door. Dogs come in, dogs go out, they go out of the one door. It's not very good for controlling disease because if you bring in a sick dog and it walks through the building, then you bring in a healthy dog and it walks through the building because we don't have any other options. So the new building will have provisions for that space so that we can, again, we want to give people the healthiest pets that they can, the happiest pets that we can. And while we do a great job with what we have, a new building would just open up a whole lot of other possibilities for the dogs and for the community. We're basically the start to a new life for somebody that maybe hasn't had the best life to begin with for whatever reason. So we're definitely not the end. We're the beginning for a lot of dogs.